Hey, Lobos, Ben Johnson here to show you how to get some more participation out of your webinars that you're doing with your students instead of just taking them through a slideshow manually and hoping that they're engaged and paying attention. You can actually have them pull up this Google slideshow on their device and ask them questions on each of the slides so that you're getting participation from all of the students instead of just one student. And it's actually really quite easy to do. So the first step is to go into your Google presentation. If you don't have your presentation in Google, you can always just upload a PowerPoint just by going to New and then File Upload, and that'll upload your PowerPoint into Google Slides. And so you can take an existing presentation that you already have and just make some small modifications to it in order to make it work for this type of lesson. So the first thing you're going to need to do is get the PearDeck add-on. I've got it here, but you may need to go to add-ons, get add-ons, and just search for PearDeck. And you can see I have it installed. Yours will have a green button on it that will say, or down below, you'll be able to add that on. Can't remember the exact wording, but I think it's a green button that says install. And then once you have that, then you should see a new menu. Maybe it will put the PearDeck menu right there. If not, you can always go to add-ons and open up the PearDeck add-on. And that's just going to open up a new pane over here on the right hand side. And at this point you're ready to start asking those questions. And one of the neat ones to start with right off the bat is the template library. And so you can open that. And they've divided that into three things for lesson builders: beginning, during, and end. So at the beginning of the lesson, maybe you want to ask students to, what do you wonder about today's topic? And just as people are entering the slideshow, this will give them something to do while they wait for their classmates. Pops that in automatically and has a question. And so when students get the slideshow, which I'll show you in a second, they're going to be prompted to type their answer to this question. And if you want it to be the first question, you can just simply drag it up above, and so that will be the first question they see. Then I can go back, and maybe during the middle of the lesson I want to ask some other questions, so I can go to during. And so there are just these pre-written questions that you can insert wherever you want. And so it'll insert it in your slideshow or after the slide that you have selected. So if you want to reorder that, you can just put it anywhere you want in your slide. And you may need to go ahead and type some more information on these. So I'll just type frogs are reptiles, and we'll allow students to drag this blue dot to agree or disagree or somewhere else on the spectrum there. And then if I go to the back, then at the end of my presentation, these are some closing kinds of questions, and I can add those to my lesson quickly and easily. Should have added it after the slide that I just used or selected. So again, you can type whatever changes you'd like to show there. So those are just a reminder, those are in the template library, and those are lesson builders, those three things. And then down below that is lesson learning development, two different kinds of questions: critical thinking and social emotional learning. And so you can take a quick look at those, and you could put those anywhere you want in the slideshow. They're really nice. Or the social emotional learning piece. Again, really nice question types that are pre-made, so you don't have to do anything. Just click them and they get added. And then if I scroll beyond that, there are subject area specific questions, and most of the subjects are covered here. And so let me go into science and see if there's anything good for this topic on classifying animals. And you're really just going to have to take a minute and look through these slides to see if there are any that are appropriate for your subject. And the benefit of this, using these pre-made slides, is just that you don't have to do any work. The work is done for you, no use to reinvent the wheel. So again, those are all under the template library. Now down below that are Ask Student a Question. These are specific questions that deal with the slides that you already have typed. So for example, I had a slide about what % of students were actively participating in your presentations. I added this hand raising. And for this particular slide, I chose the text question. And that automatically adds to that slide a place where students are going to be able to type in their answer. And so you just need to put the question on the slide, and then students will have a box where they'll be able to type their answer. And then you'll be able to display those to the students as you go through the slideshow, which is kind of neat if you want to let them know what their peers are thinking. And so I think if I just go through the slideshow, this one, how many students are you able to call on during an average lecture? So I had this one enter a number, so that was just a number. So teachers might say, geez, I can get everybody 35, or some teachers maybe think, maybe I get half the class, 15. So they can just type that answer, and then again you can show the results up on the screen as you're going through the presentation. This one I had students drag a thumbs up to the 3 things they liked, and so that one is a draggable question. And these I've already done previously, so that's why they're already there, but I just want to show you how you would add them on your own. And I think you can have up to 5 things for them to drag. I'm not positive. I think it's 5 or 6. You can change the size of the objects, what the object is, and then finally the color. So you could have, maybe 3 green thumbs up and 2 red thumbs down, and then students are going to be able to drag those onto the items that they already understand or that they don't know, and then you can show that on your screen just to give everybody a sense of what everybody else is thinking, and you can do it in a way that they're overlaying each other so that you can see all the responses at once. This one I think I had students dragging hearts. Probably not a great example. This one I just added so you can see that. This one I just have a slide that says what does it mean to classify, and then that was just a ABC type of question that students will be able to type. Again, I can show all of the students' answers during the presentation, or I can just look at them as the instructor just to get a sense of how much students already know about classification. And then I think where the real power of PearDeck are some of the slides where you have students actually do some drawing on the slide maybe, and so this one, circle the images in the same color that you would group together, and so this is just to try to get a sense of what students might think. So maybe they circle all the things that are living, the baby, the grill, the little boy, the robin, the fish, then maybe they circle some other things that are living but aren't animals, trees and plants, and then maybe they circle things that aren't alive, rocks, guitar, basketball, mountain bus. You're just going to get a sense of what students are thinking, and you can again pull up their results on the screen, and you could even ask a student why they circled the things the way they circled them. And then this one, how would you classify these? So again, these are all living things, but you're trying to get some more details, and students will be able to use the drawing tool. So this is a drawing question. And on their device they'll be able to pick a color and a pin, and they'll be able to circle the different types of animals with the different colors as far as how they would categorize them. You may have some just straight out lecture kinds of slides that you don't have any questions on. That's okay, and that's the type of slide this one is. So you can see there's no banner on the bottom for PearDeck, so it's okay to have some slides that you're just lecturing on. Same with this slide. And then on this slide I have the option for students to see this website, KidZone. And what they'll see is on the left hand side of their screen these bullet points, and then over here on the right hand side of the screen they'll actually go to this website so they can scroll through and look at that. So adding websites to the presentation to try to keep the kids on task is a good idea, so they don't have to go open another browser and maybe get off task. So that is a website type of question, and you just paste in the URL and it will give you a preview of what that looks like. Not all websites work, so you may need to experiment a little bit. I think the last time I tried to embed National Geographic, maybe it didn't work, but I can't remember for sure, so check that out. So now that they've seen that website, now you're going to ask them to drag their dots onto the reptiles. And again, when everybody's done, you can show those results up there, or just look at them as a teacher. This is a drawing kinds of question, so they might be able to write what a reptile is and an amphibian, or something that's got properties of both. Again, this is another website question where on the right hand side they'll have a website that they can scroll through. And then just more questions where they can drag the dots to fish and birds. And again, before each of these slides they've had a chance to scroll through a website that you've provided previously. This was a slide I added at the beginning of this demo. One cool thing that you can do with PearDeck that is really nice is go ahead and embed a Google Doc into the presentation. And so I have this Google Doc that's from my Google Drive that's shared. Anybody that has the link can edit that. And so on the student screen they're going to see a Google Doc over here that they can actually type on and see what their classmates are typing. And so you would want to have a prompt over here. And I can do the same thing with maybe Padlet or other websites. Maybe I've got some interactive website where they do some math. I could embed that into the PearDeck. So over here on the right, in this case it's a Padlet that I've got shared with anybody that has a link, and so they could be adding their sticky notes to that Padlet with their ideas. And again, it's just a nice way to keep them on task in your slideshow without having to go to another browser tab. Here they can draw 2 things they learned that day, and then I think these were just some random slides that I ended at the end. So after you've finished adding all of these PearDeck kinds of questions and you're ready to start the lesson, and you would want to do this before or at the beginning of the Google Hangout or the Microsoft Team video chat. So you'll start the lesson, and you can choose if you want it to be instructor paced, which if you're doing it live as part of your office hours you would choose that, or if you want students to do it on their own, it could be a self-paced activity. In this example I'm going to do a live, like I was presenting it during the presentation. And then at this point it's going to give me a join code. And so what you're going to want to do is start your Google Hangout or your Microsoft Team meeting and share your screen and give the students this code. And you're going to tell students, look, while we're doing this Google Hangout or Microsoft Team meeting, you're actually going to be listening to me, but you're going to be going to your own tab and you're going to join. You're going to type joinpd.com, and then you're going to type in this code. And I'm out of time, but I'll do another recording to show you that section, how that works. Thanks for watching.